Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Sometimes there are challenges, technical difficulties, delays, but when you remain calm, everything works out effortlessly. I used to be a person who panicked, who had to have everything perfect. And now I realize that the more you stress and worry and panic, the more challenges, the longer it takes, the harder things are. So if you're in a little bit of a tizzy thinking that something's wrong, maybe just breathe for a couple of moments. Take a deep breath in and let that go. Bob Proctor always talked about mindset. I followed him for a number of years before he passed, and I'm always surprised at the simple things that he taught. When you read them over and over and over, something else pops up that you hear, you understand at a deeper level. I like to study a little bit every day. Bob Proctor would get up early in the morning while the house was still quiet, study for an hour, and then get on with his day. And it made all the difference to his success, to his mindset, to how he treated people. He always left people with the impression of increase, and he always did something that took him closer to his goal. And it didn't matter what other people thought or said or believed. And he talks about people, first of all, acting as if you were already successful, and what others think of you is none of your business. That really surprised me when I first heard it. What other people think of you is none of your business. So interesting to think that, well, of course it's my business. It's my life. Well, go ahead and live your life. Do the things that are right for you. Do things that will take you closer to your desires. What do you want? Happiness, health, success, purpose? It doesn't matter what other people think are best for you. You're the only one who can decide what is best for you. Most people, I think, are well-meaning, but they don't know what's best for you. Each person only knows deep in their own heart what is right for themselves. You can take in all the opinions, all the ideas, but when you follow your heart, you decide what it is you're meant to do in this lifetime. Things always work out for the greater good. Bob Proctor's son, Brian Proctor, wrote a book called My Father Knew the Secret, Growing Up with Bob Proctor. And in the chapter on mindset, one of the subchapters is act as if. And Brian writes, freedom comes when we stop being what other people think we should be and start acting like the person we want to be. Have you ever heard the saying that if you tell yourself a lie often enough, you will start to believe it? The basic premise is that your subconscious mind will accept whatever you impress upon it, unlike your conscious mind, which can reject thoughts and ideas. Your subconscious mind is your emotional mind, and it only accepts the images you feed it with emotion and repetition. So, repetition is something that's really important in learning. Doesn't matter how well you did in school. Most people needed repetition before a concept sunk in. Studying before a big exam, you might read the same things over and over, or use flashcards, or have something playing in the background. Some people even go to sleep with some kind of message repeating over and over and over, because your subconscious mind takes it in without your conscious mind even being aware. And there's repetition, so the same concept over and over and over. But an easier way to really decide what you want and to bring it into your life is to fall in love with an idea. And then when you fall in love with an idea of what you really want, whether it's you want to be a teacher, you want to become a lawyer, you want to be an engineer like your dad, or a teacher like your mom, or you think, I don't want to do any of those kind of things. I want to be an artist. But people say an artist would starve to death because you have to be famous, and that usually happens after you're gone. And so all kinds of crazy ideas about different people, different professions, different ways of living. You notice there are some people, it looks like success has fallen in their lap. We have no idea how much work they've done in the background. The people who love playing music, singing songs, and they're making billions of dollars by singing and acting and doing what they love. We have no idea how many hours they've spent practicing or playing music for their teddy bears or for small audiences in back rooms. Whatever you want can be yours, but it must be meaningful to you. And you can hone your skills, you can practice, you can do the same things over and over to get better and better. Our subconscious mind is a really funny thing. It will take whatever we repeat and keep showing us evidence, even if it's what we don't want. If we worry, if we doubt, if we start looking for all the reasons why something can't happen, our mind will play tricks on us. It does the only thing it's meant to do. It shows us what we're thinking over and over and over. So if things are showing up for you in patterns that you don't like, consider what you've been thinking about, where your mind goes. Notice when you're not feeling great, what is your mind repeating? What are your thoughts going around in circles on? It's creating a pattern of either what you want or what you don't want. Your subconscious mind accepts the images that you feed it with emotion and repetition. So the wonderful thing about that is You can decide you're going to do something big, bold, different. And the more you practice thinking about it, talking about it, saying it to yourself, writing it out, but more importantly, in your mind, acting as if you're already that. Getting into a feeling, a state of being, what you would be doing, what would you be acting, how would you be behaving, how would you be feeling if you already were that version of yourself. You were already strong, healthy, successful, loved. You were already doing the work that you love. You were already spending your free time doing what matters to you. When you actually take the time to get into the feeling, to spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes once an hour or every morning and every night, just putting your body into a state of being calm, getting clear on what you want, and practicing that, rehearsing it over and over and over. The repetition and the emotional energy will bring into your life everything that matches. It works like magic, but it only works if you do it, when you do it. People can say, yeah, I really want that, but I don't know how to get it. Don't worry about how, and don't worry about what other people think. You are the only person who can put yourself into that state of being happy. No one can make you happy, just like no one can make you angry. You might say, that person always makes me so angry. No, you've chosen to get triggered by something they've said or done. Isn't it interesting? The more you study, what do you really want and how do things come into your life? How do things that matter to you turn into matter, into physical reality? By what you focus on, what you're thinking about predominantly during the day. Are you acting as if you're already happy, already successful? Bob Proctor would say, act as if you already are the person you want to become. He knew that if you learn to create from within, that the subconscious mind would not know the difference between fact and fiction. If you act like the person that you want to become, you eventually become that person. And this holds true for everyone. Are you acting as if you're successful, you're happy, you're healthy? Alfred Adler, the Austrian medical doctor, psychotherapist, and founder of the School of Individual Psychology, first coined the phrase, act as if. He developed a strategy in the 1920s for his clients to practice roles that differed from their dysfunctional behaviors or realities. Now, I know that there's lots of different kind of role playing. I've been involved in role playing in different occupations. But you can also role play your own fantasy. What do you really want? After you've spent your lifetime working hard and now you're looking to retire, how does it feel? How are you going to be spending your days? What does that freedom feel like? The time to enjoy fishing, painting, golfing, hiking, kayaking, spending time with children, grandchildren, friends. Is there a purpose? Is there something else that you're meant to do? Sometimes our purpose finds us. You might run into a person who went through a difficult challenge in their life, and because of that, they have started a new charity, and they've invented something different. Maybe your purpose hasn't even found you yet. Bob Proctor used to say, if you're just working, that's no fun. He suggested that we work toward a big, bold, audacious goal. And even if that goal never manifested, never came true in your lifetime, it changes who you are. It stretches you, it challenges you. You grow and become a better person just by pursuing something that you really want. You know, oftentimes we think that there's something missing. We really want something, and we spend too much time worrying that it's not coming, it's not here yet. But acting as if is not being phony or inauthentic. It's about changing your behavior first. If you were healthy, how would you be spending your days? You wouldn't be talking about disease and failure and all the things that are wrong. You wouldn't be complaining. You would be enjoying your life. You would be working at something that was meaningful to you. Oftentimes we share what we really want with our loved ones, and they try and knock us down. Just forgive them and keep going, because they don't know what's in your heart. People only know you from their point of view, from an old version of you, from the version of you that they got used to. If you want a big, beautiful, audacious goal, it might scare you because you have no idea how it could happen, but it's so big and beautiful. It's something that you're going to spend the rest of your life pursuing. What we give our attention to in life grows. Be careful and purposeful about what you are focusing on. Negativity keeps company just as positivity does. You get to choose the company you want to keep. Decide that you will be the one to define who you are. Don't let other people define who you are. Bob Proctor was a very strong-willed person. In the beginning, he put on seminars that took a lot of work, and it was not always profitable. He left behind a successful cleaning business that he had built an empire serving several cities and countries to pursue his dream of teaching personal development material. And that really opened him up to criticism and self-doubt. And in those moments, he turned his focus and energy to teaching the information that had enabled him to build his empire in the first place. Teaching from the stage was all he wanted to do. So when he would show up to speak and the audience was small, he taught as if every seat was occupied. Brian Proctor writes, I will never know exactly how long it took for my father to become the full version of what he imagined, but I know it was years. And because Bob Proctor was always working to improve himself, he likely changed that image many times, always adding to his definition of what he wanted next for himself, the person he wanted to become. He never stopped reaching for new heights. Even at the age of 87, in the days that preceded his death, he was studying and working on himself. Brian writes, whenever I feel doubt creep into my thoughts, I take a quiet moment and think to myself, what would my father do? And then I commit to having the kind of persistence and discipline he showed me my entire life. Sometimes when I'm feeling sorry for myself or worried about an outcome, I remember, what would Bob Proctor do? Maintain the vision of what you want. Keep in mind that to act as if when you are not there yet is not always easy to do, because we all have friends and family who have their stories about who we are. To present them with a different version of us is uncomfortable. In fact, often when we try to be something different, those closest to us will be the first ones to try and bring us down. They do this because they feel threatened. They may not even realize what they're doing. Bob Proctor would say, people don't resist change. They resist being changed. When you present yourself differently to those close to you, you are making them uncomfortable. You're shifting their world. You're creating change. This is the real test. When you enter this phase of judgment from those you love and are close to, how badly do you want your goal? What is it that you really want? When we feel judged becomes a moment in time when we need to hold tight to our vision and act with confidence and determination to be that better version of ourselves, regardless of what's going on, regardless of how the economy looks or what people are talking about. The ability to hold the vision, to act as if, despite how it feels when the sharpness of others' opinions cut deeply, that's when you know you are aligning your behavior with your belief. What do you really want? It's easy to get into that feeling first thing in the morning before the world shows the current reality. But the current reality has come to be because of past thinking, feeling, and doing. You want something different? You have to hold the vision, hold the feeling, act as if it's already true. And you become a magnet for everything that matches your vision, your goal, your dream. What do you really want? Bob Proctor would say, spend time in the picture, hold the vision, write it out every single day. Write out a sentence that brings you back to that goal. Write it in the present. Always use positive language and feel as if it's already here. When your mind, body, spirit all are in alignment, your goal will show up. Feel as if you're already successful. Ideas will come to you. Make sure you try them out. Even if you fail, you don't need to know the whole plan. Just start moving in the direction of your goal. More importantly, act as if, feel as if you're already there, and do not let other people talk you out of your beautiful dream. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.